Welcome to 52 Weeks of Storytelling. This is week 10. We will be chatting about where you grew up and how we can write about that. But first, I want to tell you what 52 Weeks of Storytelling actually is. 52 Weeks of Storytelling is a weekly video that drops every week on Sundays for the course of 52 weeks. So another 42 after today. You also have the opportunity to get these showing up in your email inbox. You can go to www.thelegacyrecorder.com and search for 52 weeks to find the opt-in for that opportunity. There is also an opportunity to get the journal. Those are linked in the description. You can grab a PDF on Etsy, or if you like to have an actual printed opportunity, you can grab that on Amazon for around $20. If you're in other marketplaces, please make sure you are looking in your marketplace in order to get things shipped to you. I have it in multiple marketplaces, so if you're in a different country, chances are pretty good-ish that you'll also be able to get that. The way the workbook is set up, the way the journal is set up, is that every page, the weekly pages will match a video. So you can go watch the YouTube playlist and it'll match up and you can go back and catch up. So with that, I would like to walk you through the legacy storytelling method. So the legacy storytelling method is what I use to help people tell their stories in a way that it's really an awesome outline. So it helps people walk through their storytelling. It helps the interview process. And we start with the 5 W's. Those are who, what, when, where, and why, in that order. The first 4 usually go pretty well. And then when you get to why, people aren't really sure what's happening. So I like to think of why in this instance of how did you get to this moment? What was happening? What were the forces that brought you to this place? And then the next part of the legacy storytelling method are the digging deeper questions. So this is the impact, the feelings. What do you want people to remember about this moment, and why is this moment important to you? Those sorts of things. So with that, let's jump into the weekly storytelling prompt and how I like to think about how the words flow for this. So writing about where you grew up sometimes is easy and sometimes it's kind of hard. It kind of depends on your childhood. So if this is something that is hard for you to think about, don't think about it as a childhood memory. If there's another moment in your life where you feel like you grew or you move forward, write about that. Remember that these are always guideposts. They're not strict, hard rules about what you're supposed to be writing about. So think about a moment in time, about where you grew up, or even just about the place you grew up, and talk about the who's, the what's, the when's, the where's, the why's, and then what you want people to remember about that moment. Why is it important to you? And why you chose this moment in your time. Now for our story example, my story example. I was having a hard time coming up with something, but I guess I wanted to focus on share with you what I miss about where I grew up. So I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm living in Western Pennsylvania, an hour outside of Pittsburgh, north of Pittsburgh. So it's a very different landscape. Never mind the snow and the lack of sun. Like, we're talking about, like, Phoenix is flat, right? So just driving. We could ride bikes everywhere. There was public transportation, and living in a smaller community without those things and not being able to send my kids to the corner store. It's definitely, I miss that part. There's a part of my childhood that my kids just aren't experiencing. Now they are, by no means, everything's fine. They get to experience a lot of different things that I didn't get to experience growing up. And so it's just been really interesting to see how where you grew up impacts how you view the world, what you end up enjoying doing, and what you might decide to do in your life later. So a question I would tack on that's not in the journal and not in the storytelling method is what, if you had grown up somewhere else, or maybe in a place where you're living now, if you had grown up there, what would things have been like for you? And noodle around on that. I hope that this has helped you write some part of your story. Don't forget to check back for more, check the playlist, and grab your journals. With that, I hope you have an incredibly wonderful day. And until we talk again, happy writing.